Thank God for the lighthouse. Lord, I owe my life to Him. You see, Jesus is the lighthouse. And from the rock we did, and shone His light of love around me. And I didn't see just what it wasn't for the lighthouse. Tell me where was my defeat?
Just for a few minutes, I want to
Jesus.
give you a word of encouragement.
Jesus. Oh, hallelujah. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Thank you, Lord God.
The Bible says, he that shall endure
Oh,
until the
hallelujah.
end,
Yes, Lord.
the same shall be saved.
Jesus. Yes, Lord. Oh, glory. Oh, my Lord. Jesus.
You don't want to live
Oh, glory.
your whole life. You don't want to
Yes.
go through struggles, sufferings, and situations.
Jesus. Jesus.
And then when it is about to be resolved,
Jesus.
you get burnt out
Yes, I do.
and you give up. And all of your struggles and sufferings were in vain. Every pain, every sacrifice, every effort comes to nothing. When I was selling insurance, I had two clients, and they were friends, but under a peculiar situation. They had been married to the same gentleman. And the one that I was talking to at this time was the first wife. I was in my early 30s, and I listened to her talk. She saw the name on my list, and she said, "Oh, you are their agent too?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am." And she began to tell a story of how she had been married to the man for years, and he was very abusive. Verbally, physically. He drank all the time. And they were married for some 20 years, and she just didn't take it. And so they eventually divorced. And then in a very humble manner, she just simply said, but I don't understand it because he's a different man over there. He's not drinking. He's very responsible. He's not abusive. She said, I'm not angry, but none of that stuff he does. And being young, I thought about one or two things. Either they were not compatible. You know, you want to have a mate whose spirit is compatible. You want to offset and balance each other in a proper manner. Or she didn't endure when she decided, hey, I can't take it anymore. It was right at the brink when he was saying, I need to stop. You want to be able to endure accordingly to the situation. Now, it is true that endurance is a personal thing. Everyone has not the same limitation of endurance. Amen. The Bible says, as much as lieth in you, live peacefully with all men. Some people can go a lot further than others. So you cannot necessarily judge someone for throwing in the towel, necessarily. So when I'm talking to you about endurance, this is a personal thing. You have to, I feel a virtue. When I say I feel a virtue, you know what that means. That means the Holy Spirit is letting me know that somebody's understanding and agreeing with what I say. And the minute you understand, you don't have to tell me, the Holy Spirit will move upon me. How do you know if it's real or not? Because when I say I feel the virtue and you just have a thought, then you know that God is in the house.
Yes.
This virtue works all over the world. In every country we preach, this virtue flows.
Yes.
As much as life in you, live peacefully with all men. When I read that scripture as a young man, I said, well, that means if you can go a little further, then go. So that helped to increase my endurance in going through things, because I said to myself, well, a lot of times I get upset, I really don't have to.
Amen.
Because I still have some peace in me.
Yes.
So then I learned to go as far as I could go, and I found out that I had a wide range of long suffering. And God enabled me to be able to endure a lot. But you can't judge each individual by your level of patience or endurance.
Yes, Lord.
You have to know. I feel the virtue.
Yes, Lord.
You have to know your limitations.
Yes, Lord.
And now it is true, if you have a short fuse and your patience and your long suffering is short,
Yes,
nobody condemn you for that, because that's how you are. However, it could cause you a lot of heartache, because it could cause you to give up
Amen.
before the time.
Amen.
You have to ask God to give you endurance in situations considering what the situation may be. God showed me when enough is enough.
Yes, Lord.
Help me to know my limitations and my strength and my weaknesses.
Yes, Lord.
But I want to talk about not giving up on life. You don't want to have to go through life and give your all. Your sufferings, your trials, your tribulations, your downfalls, your blessings. And when it gets to the final moment, whatever that may be or whenever, you say life is not worth it. I'm just going to stop trying. You start, I feel a virtue. You start thinking about the things you've been through. You look back over the years of how you were hurt and maybe some of the foolish things that you've done and you're ashamed of. And it's something about remembering. When you remember, you got to remember to leave it where it is.
Amen.
And use the lessons learned to strengthen you and encourage you where you are.
Yes.
But sometimes you have to leave those memories where they are. Remember, you are remembering.
My Lord.
You're looking back that you may learn and understand, but you're not trying to bring it forward.
Amen.
Even if it's a good thing. I feel the virtue.
Yes.
A lot of times we have good experiences in life, and the present situation we're in is not so good, so we try to live our lives according to the past. We remember the good things.
Amen.
So we try to make the best out of the situation by remembering the good things, except those good things are back there.
Yes.
They're not before you now.
Amen.
But you can use the memories to strengthen you, to teach you not to make the same mistakes. Jesus told the church, remember from whence you have fallen.
Amen.
Learn from that, and then go back to your first love.
Amen.
Remember how you fell and where you fell from. Don't create it again. Don't relive it. Just remember.
Amen.
You got to have the right patience and skill to remember the past and not relive it. I find myself sometimes thinking about the past and I have to stop thinking.
Amen.
Because it becomes real. Because I just brought it back.
Amen.
Then you get angry, bitter, sad. But don't get me wrong. The scripture says God has no pleasure in them that turn back.
Amen.
It's your life. You can't walk around living in self-pity because of what you've been through. You still have to live.
Yes, Lord. Tell it.
You still have to press your way through. And God is able, because he said, I send you forward.
Yes, he is.
But if you don't move, he won't move.
Yes, he is.
If you go back, he can't go back.
Right.
He doesn't send us back. In St. Louis, when I was in school, we had projects to sell. We had to go knock on doors and try to sell things. And I was about maybe, I don't know, 11, 12. And I would go through the neighborhood and wasn't doing too good. So I thought to myself, young people, I said, I'm going to go sit on the sidewalk in front of this house, and I'm going to sit there like I'm crying and say, Mom, I wish somebody would buy something for me. I said, maybe they'll look out the door and feel sorry for me. And say, son, we'll buy. It didn't work. And I sat there, and it didn't work. Nobody came out. Nobody felt sorry for me. A few years later, in the 11th grade, we were bringing Captain Basie in the music department, and I sold more tickets than anybody. But you better believe I didn't sit down and bob my head, because I know that didn't work.
Amen.
I went forth and I pushed those tickets.
Yes.
One reason why I pushed them, because being a band student, I believed in the music. You're not going to push something you don't believe in.
Amen.
And if you don't believe in yourself and the life that God has given you, you're not going to push it.
Yes, Lord.
If you don't have any hope, you're not going to strive.
Amen.
And not just any hope, but this hope has to be the right hope and has to lead you in the right direction. Don't play with yourself. As long as you think positive, it's all right. A whole bunch of folks think positive, but they're not all right.
Amen.
It depends on what are you thinking positive concerning. And I'm here to tell you straight up, your life is not your own. If you think it is, on the day of death, tell yourself you won't die.
Amen.
Man was created to serve God. Straight up, straight down.
Amen.
And that's the bottom line.
Yes, Lord.
And his commandments are not grievous. Many people say, if God is so good, why did he put people in hell? How many times I told you, God is so good, but he put no one in hell.
Amen.
Hell was not created for man. Read the book correctly. It was created for the devil and his angels. It is man that choose to go to hell because they choose to follow Satan.
Right.
If you could, all these preachers preaching hell and damnation, well, I tell you what, that which is natural is first than that which is spiritual. If you keep breaking the law, you're going to jail and damnation.
Amen.
They're going to lock you up. So now man can lock you up and take your life legally. How much more God who created you cannot warn you that there is a penalty to pay for breaking the laws of God.
Amen.
He is a good God.
Yes, Lord.
As a matter of fact, he so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son. He is a good God.
Yes, sir.
He came down in the form of man to help straighten up what we messed up. What is everybody talking about? If God is so good, he's more than good.
Jesus, amen.
So don't let anybody get away with that. You let them know God didn't put you in hell. But listen, but you do have to endure. Once you're here, you have to endure till the end, and the same shall be saved.
Amen.
You have to go all the way.
Amen.
That's not being unfair. Look at your own lives. If you're in school, you want to graduate, you got to do what? Go all the way. If I feel the virtue. If you want the diploma, you got to go all the way. If you've been trained for a job, you have to what? Complete the training. You have to do what? Go all the way. And if you don't go all the way, you don't receive. My God. If you don't go all the way, you can't enter in. So it's not a frame of thought that we're not used to. But beloved, don't allow the pressures of life to cause you to give up on your life. Don't allow the ignorance of others to discourage you, to blame God, and then you lose hope. One of the signs of the last days is that men's hearts will fail. Heart attacks will increase, the scripture says this, because of all the things that are taking place upon the earth. You cannot be distracted and discouraged by what you see, because God is bigger than this.
Amen.
And He has a better life for us. My mind goes back to in the days of King David. David was a man after God's own heart, though he had sinned before God, and God had to chastise him.
Yes, Lord.
And one of his chastisements was that he would have to flee from his neighbor and that the sword would not leave his home. One of David's sons turned on David and tried to kill him. And David ran and he fled for his life. And everything was all right until they came to David and they said, David, Ahithophel has turned against you. To give you an understanding of how you should feel when I say that. Maybe there's a scandal concerning you. There are rumors in the circle that you abide in. People are talking. Friends, family members. And you know how we brush it off. But then your dearest friend, a person you trust above all, someone comes up to you and says, and they too are talking about you. They too have turned against you. The person you least expect, who knew everything about you, you all were bonded as one, and then they tell you, they too are talking about you. Now, how would you feel? I can feel it now. Oh my goodness, are you serious?
Amen.
That's how David felt when they told him Ahithophel has turned against you. Ahithophel was David's wisest advisor. He was an older man. The Bible said his wisdom was like listening to God. He was like almost like never wrong. Every advice he gave David was right. And when David heard this, David said, oh no. What am I going to do? Because this was David's crutch. David was a man after God's own heart. He was a skilled musician, very handsome man. He wrote half the Psalms. He was very courageous in war. When everybody saw David, they sang the song of David. But behind the scene, David would go to Ahithophel and say, tell me, what can I do? And when David heard that Ahithophel had sided with his son, Absalom, he was heartbroken. He had one more advisor named Hushai. Was a wise man, but not quite on the same level, but was closer to Ahithophel than anybody else. And when Hushai came to David and said, I'm going to follow you, David said, no, you stay, because there's nobody else that can withstand Ahithophel and even have a chance but you. You go ahead and say that you have sided against me, that maybe you may hear something. So Hushai stayed. David ran from his son, and he took those that would follow with him. And Ahithophel came to Absalom and said, listen, your father has left 10 of his wives behind to keep the palace. I want you to take those 10 women, put a tent on top of the palace, and then I want you to take them one by one. And Absalom put a tent on top of the palace, and he called the women in one by one, and he humbled them. And when the men of the city saw it, they went up with the cheer. They were cheering. It worked. Like they heard from God. It strengthened the hand of Absalom, because what Absalom just did was he took his father's house. And it worked. Absalom became stronger and stronger. Now it's time to go to battle. Ahithophel said, this is what we're going to do. You give me so many thousands of men and you stay behind. And I'm going to surround your father over here and over there. And then I'm going to go right in. And I'll kill him myself. This was David's greatest advisor. Now some say that Ahithophel got upset because the man whom David had killed was the husband of his granddaughter. Bathsheba was Ahithophel's granddaughter. And when he heard what David had did, according to some teaching, he didn't like that deep down in his heart. And it would have worked. He would have gotten David, caught him, slew him. But Hosea spoke up. The man whom David left, he said, no, no, no. Absalom asked Hosea, what do you think? He said, you know your father, how he's a man of war. And you know those mighty men that he has. Who can withstand them? He said, this is what you ought to do. You ought to go here, go there, and you yourself ought to go to battle. Sometimes when you're dealing with people with wisdom and knowledge, they don't have to go through all that rigmarole because they can see certain things and know how the end's going to be. Amen. Sometimes you're full of mouth and full of words because you lack knowledge and wisdom and insight.
Come on.